Hello, dear friends. So in this lesson, we will learn comparison operators and logical operators in Python and how we're going to use them. So let's start. These operators compare the values on either side of them and then decide the relation among them. They're also called relational operators. So now let's have a look at the comparison operators one by one. Equals. So if the values of the two operands are equal, then the condition becomes true. John equals John. The result is true. John equals David. The result is false. 5 equals 7. The result equals false. 9 equals John. And again, the result is false, right? Not equal. If values of two operands are not equal, then the condition becomes true. So here, John equals John. The result is false. John, exclamation, equals David. And the result is true. 5 equals 7. The result is true. 9 equals John. The result is true. Now have a look at this. 15, exclamation, equals 15. The result is false. Less than. So if the value of the left operand is less than the value of the right operand, then the condition becomes true. John is less than John. The result is false. John less than David. The result is false because Python compares them in alphabetical order. 5 less than N7. The result is true. 9 less than John gives us an error. So in Python, the less than mark doesn't support instances between integers and strings. 15 less than 15, the result is false. Greater than. If the value of the left operand is greater than the value of the right operand, then the condition becomes true. John greater than John. The result is false. John greater than David. The result is true. 5 greater than 7. The result is false. 15 greater than 15. The result is false. Greater than equals. If the value of the left operand is greater than or equal to the value of the right operand, then the condition becomes true. John greater than equals John. The result is true. John greater than equals David. The result is true. 5 greater than equals 7. The result is false. 15 greater than equals 15. The result is true. Less than equals. If the value of the left operand is less than or equal to the value of the right operand, then the condition becomes true. John less than equals John. The result is true. John less than equals David. The result is false. 5 less than equals 7. The result is true. 15 less than equals 15. The result is true. Now, logical operators are used to combine conditional statements. There are 3 types of logical operators, which are and, or, and not. So now let's look at all 3 operators with examples. The AND operator checks that the result of all comparison operations is true. If both the operands are true, then the condition becomes true. In other cases, the result is false. So I'll show you an example. 5 equals 5, and John is less than David. The result is false. So here the 5 equals 5, that's true. But John is greater than David alphabetically, so that makes it false. And as you know, when we use the AND operator, if both sides are not true, the result returns false. 5 is less than equals 7, and John equals John. Now the result is true, because 5 is less than 7, well, that's true. John is equal to John, so it's also true. Both sides are true, and that means the result returns true. Jack is greater than equals David, and John equals John. So the result is also true. Now the OR operator checks to see if at least one of the results of all the comparison operations is true. So if any of the two operands are non-zero, then the condition becomes true. Otherwise, the result is false. For example, 5 equals 5, or John is less than David. The result is true. Here, 5 is equal to 5, that's true, but John is not less than David, that's false. And as you know, when we use the OR operator, at least one side has to be true. The result returns to us true. Jack is greater than equals David, or John equals John. The result is true. Jack less than David, or 5 equals 8. The result is false. Here, both sides are false, so the result returns to us as false. Now, the NOT operator isn't actually a logical operator. This operator simply converts a logical value or comparison to the opposite. That is, the NOT operator converts a result that is true to false and a result that is false to true. I'll show you by example, and then it's easy. Not John less than equals John. The result is false. So as you can see, John is equal to John. That's true, but we use the not operator, so the result returns false. Not John greater than equals than David. The result is false. Not 5 greater than 7. The result is true. Not 15 equals 1. The result is true. Cool. So in this lesson, we've learned some basic things that we need to know about comparison operators and logical operators in Python. So we'll put them to good use later. Until then, I want to see you in the next lesson. So have a nice day.